Hello techies, I'm Divya here. On behalf of CyberBrainer, don't you think the world of tech is evolving faster than ever? Now is the perfect time to dive in and build the skills that will take you places. With CyberBrainer, we are putting you in the driver's seat of your own future. We at CyberBrainer don't just teach your interest. We believe that knowledge is power, but it's applied knowledge that truly sets you apart. Whether you're diving into data science, mastering artificial intelligence, or exploring the world of cybersecurity, our courses are designed to give you the skills that matter. So let's jump into the session and make the future yours today. Thank you.
Today we'll talk about 401k reduction configuration. Before that, 401k is nothing but retirement savings accounts in US and mandatory plan. Two things. The retirement savings is part of benefit plan. The benefit team will create this retirement savings plan and assign to the employee at certain percentage. Later on, they assign the percentage. Then, as a payroll consultant, we need to get a deduction to fetch the percentage amount from the benefit plan and calculate with the base pay and deduct this 401k from the employee's page. Let me give some heads up. Here the source is benefit plan. This is 401k. You can see this employee, Mr. Johnson, can navigate his benefits. The benefit team will create 401k plan. We're talking about this one. 400k plan they will create. And once they create the 401k plan, they will assign to the worker. Now, if you can see, here the employee is contributing around 13% from the employee's paycheck. Employee's paycheck 13% is contributed. What does it mean? Let's say an employee base pay is 5,000 multiplied by 13 divided by 100. Around $650 the employee 401k donation per pay per month. That's what we took for per month. Here what benefits team is doing, just there assign the 13%. Payroll team responsibilities. Fetch this 30%, 13%, calculate on the base pay and direct the required amount. Something like this. How to get this benefit plan? What is the source? What are the limitations? We'll discuss in today's topic. First thing, we have to ensure the plan must be available and assigned to the worker. Further, if you want to drill down, this is a 401k plan. Then this is how the plan will be set up by benefits team. Employee can maximum contribute up to 35%, but this implies opt-in for 13% per pay cycle. Now we need to get a direction for this benefit plan. How to do that? First, create direction. Enter the name. Or enter the reference ID. The same thing as we already discussed for multiple earnings also. If you want to override this direction, then we can override this. Country restricted to US. This is how the past year constructing because we have paid us at that time. We have your run category. Who is eligible for this direction? We have all 401k, one of the mandatory benefit plans. USA Workday is already given all the calculations. We have to just select the required calculations. Set the worker eligibility. The Workday calculation. Which means if any employee has the benefit plan, percentage benefit plan, and the amount is greater than equal to 0, then the employee is eligible. They are the standard calculations for 401k. We are not getting any custom. Example, it is true. If the benefit plan is associated with the direction exists for worker, what does it mean? Direction 401k associated with the different contribution. Paper job. This is an example. If any employee has a benefit plan that is percentage based, and if the employee has some percentage in the plan, that employee is eligible. And also select one more standard rules. This is like we have to remember this. Calculations. Retirement wages reduced by non-convertible reduced by NQDC. Standard formula. Employee should have the plan, and whatever the amount that employee has, it should be non-convertible. Sometimes what happened? I hired an employee and I have to deduct certain amount from the employee's paycheck. But the benefit team is not a benefit plan yet. Without source, how can I proceed to deduct? That's why I need a placeholder here, which means payroll. I will also select either go with the logic calculation or go with payroll. Input exists for pay component. What does that mean? If any employee has a benefit plan, that employee is eligible, or I can immediately on ad hoc basis process and deduct the amount through the payroll input. We made it into such scenarios. For instance, you hired an employee or HR team hired an employee. Benefits team is responsible to assign benefits. Payroll cutoff date is very near to that. The benefits team is not complete the activity. But payroll team, without assign the benefit plan, this calculation doesn't work. We have a placeholder. Manually, we'll get it down. And scroll down. Calculation also Workday has provided that is base uncorrelated by percentage. This is a Workday delivered calculation exclusive for one. What is mean by base uncorrelated multiplied by percentage? This is arithmetic calculation. The same logic here we are taking. Employee base pay is 5,000. Percentage of benefit plan is 13%. I mean payroll. We are bringing this amount something like base pay percentage 5,000 multiplied by 13%. The value will be 650 or 630. The system will calculate the payment. And it's a deduction, no prolation. Scroll down. We have to remember a point. Whenever you select multiple calculation, base pay, percent rate or units or rate, or however leverage, you must also create related calculations. Why do I need to create? Because you're calling and calculating two components base plus benefit percentage. We have a dependency at two rows here. In the first one, base pay uncorrelated. Call the base pay uncorrelated here. And the overhead value here. Search for retirement savings wages. And, to be honest, there is no exclusive meaning for this, related calculations. It's like standard calculation work provided. You have to remember and enter the value. This is also a work to own calculation. We're using to override. Scroll to the. This is called limit section. There might be certain limits for certain directions. Cannot be directed more than certain value. And 401k is IRS and government retirement savings account. There's a section called 415. 401k is a retirement savings. 415 is a section eligible wages limit. An employee can contribute maximum up to 19,500. But an employee want one tax year. An employee cannot go beyond that value, especially on 401k. That's why we have to maintain limit here at a direction level. Here on the limit value, search for section 415. Section 450 eligible wages until when? For a month, for a year or quarterly, or half a year. For a year, which means till this year, current calendar year. Year to date. Now what we're trying to say here is this base pay and prorate must be calculated on the retirement savings wages, what they want calculation. The water, the calculate for 1K is a little bit less, which means base pay, all the components of the employee paid common group wages. If the water the calculation is coming, that should not be greater than equal to section 415 eligible wage. Here we'll maintain the limit. As of this year, the contribution should not go beyond the limit. That's what we are trying on this one row. Display on the pay slips. We'll search the result. Any questions on this screen? I know this is a tricky part, but especially for over 401k hourly wages, whenever we're creating this standard payment, standard calculations. Initially, we have discussed NQDC. One word, payroll. Let's say payroll. Non-convertible direction contributions, 1 second. This is the terminology to calculate wages. Sorry, one correction. Non-qualified deferred compensation, which means bonuses, tips and other additional income, are not supposed to calculate for the 401k amount. That's why we're excluding those values. Non-qualified. Non-qualified deferred compensation. Deferred compensation, which means if the employee get any bonus, incentives or tips or company gifts or whatever amount in the monetary benefit, the amount should not be calculated for the percentage. That's why we're giving an condition, which means consider only the planned percentage. You are not considering bonus incentive. You are not considering gift amount or any company. Sorry, to make it simple. Some companies, what they will do, for example, my company, if they perform well, they may give me a paycheck super employee and they may give me Allen Dawson as part of a presentation. The amount should not be included for calculation. That's what we are saying. And calculation details. In calculation details, we have taken the base unprorated. Yes, here they won't. As a retired employees, we don't have the attendance. Because of that, we have taken unprorated or no, always the 401k must be calculated based on unprorated. Prorated will be prorated employees. To make it simple for hourly wage employees, exempt employees, they may not be eligible for 401k. For them, we'll do prorations. That's the reason. But by default, unprorated. To make it simple, what we are saying is, for example, I'm earning $10,000 per month, my base plan. I work for 15 days. Now my compensation is supposed to get 5,000, but the percentage is still calculated for the 10,000. Not going to calculate 5,000. That's what we are saying here, unprorated. The next one is base, another one is percentage. Enter the value here, percent. And this we have to remember, no other option. To be honest, in real time, when we're implementing in the GMS terms, we'll do a copy-paste. Override value the calculation benefits percentage. Because our configuration quite remains same, it's not going to change at any cost. Display the result completely. Go to the hand side. Display the result on the payslip. Current means it will display only current month amount. Current and balance means it will balance amount needs to be paid. That is also it will display. This means sometimes the directions are 0. We no need to store that value. That's why we have control. And these are applicable for tax-related multiple tax deductions, not applicable for our current deduction. Once you give the value here, the section 415 is set. Here the limit you have to define. Select this. Under value search for collective deferral annual limit, here why we are saying 41K, 43B or 457, these are all sections in their law. These are all sections in their laws. For example, in India also, we have two things, especially if you talk about problem from employee contribution, employer contribution, employee voluntary contribution. If employee contribute 12%, employer also will contribute 12%. Employee also contributing for voluntary, for additional voluntary, employer not supposed to contribute. Here, that's what we'll say employer cash contributions, employee traditional growth plans. All the plans together including as of current calendar year WTD, current calendar year based on payment date. We already given based on payment date. No need to enter here. Include current or not applicable. And then, once you maintain these limits, a Roth plan, traditional plan or current plan, I mean photovoltaic plans, should not be more than the amount maintained in this lookup table in the current calendar year. I will explain. And if 41K is pre-tax or post-tax, it's it's pre-tax. The employee-friendly tax. Employee-friendly benefits. What happens here is, let's say we have an employee, Mr. John. Here he's earning 5,000 US dollars as a base pay, unless the 10,000 is also a base pay. With the post-tax, what happened here? First employee taxes will be deducted. Let's say 3,000. And then it is 7,000. On this is 7,000 multiplied by 13 divided by 100. $10,000 multiplied by 13 and 10 will be employee contribution. Remember, here the amount has been calculated based on the net amount. This is post-tax scenario. Let's say pre-tax scenario. What is the employee tax here? 3,000. Assume he's paying 30%. As the same employee, John 10,000, he's earning base pay. First, we deducted 13% of his 41K amount. It's a pre-tax first 41K deduction should happen. 13% of 1,000 is on 300 have been deducted. And then what is left? Is left 700 multiplied by 30 tax. Somewhere around 267 is the tax amount. Now, which one is employee friendly? Which option is best for employee? Here he paid only tax 2610, same earnings. He paid 3000. This is the time. This is employee friendly. He paid tax only after benefit deduction has happened, which means employee also gained some profit. Profit in a sense, some benefit. First, the 41k deducted, that's the huge amount compared to here. Here you contribute 910, here you contribute 1300. This is employee friendly tax. That's why we call it pre-tax. Then select pre. And also we have to, when you say pre-tax, federal tax, state tax, local tax, other taxes must be reduced. It should not calculate those taxes. Federal tax deduction. Exclude the tax, which means reduction is nothing, but you are excluding the tax from this deduction since it's a pre-tax. All our work to deliver state taxable deduction. Local or city. Reduction means excluding those taxes, since it's a pre-tax. Now, one more point I would like to highlight, especially when you're working on 401k benefit plan. If you're not mapped this pre-tax deduction plan level, if you haven't mapped this pre-tax deduction plan level automatically Workday, he's not going to calculate nor display on the basis. Make sure you must define the pre-tax. And here map the 401k benefit plan Charles Park. You can also navigate from retirement savings. There are two plans. One is again false benefits, but let me explain. One plan is employee has to wait till the retirement savings and then employee take the benefits free of tax. Another plan is employee is not at it, but employee needs some amount from his savings, child education, marriage, healthcare related. Another one is catch up contribution. Employee should voluntarily contribute some more amount. That's why we have three things here. We do have employee, employer, voluntary. Now we'll proceed for testing. I'm a little afraid, especially this 401k when I would like to test, but I'll give it a try. Which pay group you're running always? Weekly. Bi-weekly professional. Go to the pay group. We will say not there, but I will run the payroll for this group. Let me try some other pay group. Minimize the cache testing plan. We'll run the payroll for this employee. Then the pay group. There's no option USA. Ceremony professional. Professional regional. Wait to 2000. Here, let's say if we get a deduction on 2020, effective run duration is 2020. But we are running the payroll for 2019. Definitely by the date. Our direction is not active in the system. You may not get result. Good that we set to 2000. Professional regional monthly. Let's run for this. Smart calculation. The daemon D411 must be processed. If not, we have to troubleshoot. Perfect. Now we'll set few employees and we'll check whether our deduction is working as expected. Because the standard calculation should work. But let's give it a try. I'm gonna take this guy and then Martin. We'll go to his paycheck. Sorry, I spit into the bracelet. We can track here as well. Oh, he's all over. Oh no. It processed. This is the Workday 11. This is the one we created. $173.94 has been calculated. How to do calculation? His total salary base pay is 2000. And what is his benefit amount? What's he got? Fallacy for fold. ITR multiplied by 0 we can do on October 10th. Let's go to the worker and see. We will see what is for one contribution. %, 2 to the 6 multiplied by 7 divided by 100 exactly. It's coming in V7 This is how we can bring the benefit reductions. Quickly, I will also access another task that is paid basic configuration. Paid slip configuration work based. Delivered one man, no action required from your side. Only thing was what data you want to display on the paid slip. But unfortunately, I want to see employee paid slip, but we don't any chance. I'm going to open my contract. No. Access the task. Configure paid slip. I'm sorry. Maintain basic configuration. The template is already available. We have 7 sections on the base slip. You can already feel like 7 sections we will have. One is employed, paid benefits. Separately in the base, if you would like to display what is employed paid benefit, what is employee earnings, and then 3 post-tax deduction sections. Taxable wages, 1 section. Employee earnings and deductions. You can note here that we are overriding. If you can see, is a funding for deduction. We are saying pre-tax instead of deduction. We are saying post-tax and total employee taxes and then absence plans if the employee has to like to display the balance. Each section. Here we don't need to do any mapping because whenever we're creating a earning or deduction, for example, whenever creating earning or deduction, we will select certain calculation at to gross remember. Automatically the earning will be displayed here. In order to do any grouping, here, whatever the name you overwrite, that name will be displayed. For instance, if you see here, it is earnings. They've already done. If they're not giving this value also, the section display is overwritten. This is printing options. Would like to allow as much as they want to download. Would like to display employee work address, organization address, and the payslip. Would like to display total number of hours by worker by the employee for this earning and other options. You can display or you can control. Combined payslips. Combined payslips are nothing, but whenever the employee would like to download the payslip. For example, I'm applying for a loan that my banker asked 3 months of payslips. Separate payslips are total combined payslips on one single page continuously. These are called printing options. Pay component. Override names means by any chance you would like to override any taxes or any state taxes related data. You can override here. Override in the sense. This is the New York State Disability Insurance. Instead of this value, the customer would like to override this into this. This name will be displayed on the page for New York employees, not this company. This is standard template. Again, maybe I will do the checks. What is ID here? What is the column ID? ID is nothing unique reference ID. For example, VR. We always have to whenever I'm adding one row, and I would what are the tags I want to override. I must enter one unique ID. If I enter same ID, enter same ID, they will give error message saying that this ID is already in use. For each pay component you would like to override, you must enter a different unit override. It's simple. Increment by 1. Here 2. 1 is there. 2, 2, 3, 2, 4. Something manually will get. Is there any other benefit that only the reference purpose for the column or any other place? We are going to use this one. Which one? No. This ID the bracelet whenever you print or generate the bracelet. This component, this ID should, with the help of this component, with the help of this ID, this pay component, data will be printed in the bracelet. In order to bring the results on each result line, we will maintain a different unit. Suppose if I want to give the earnings in the 7th row and the deductions in the 5th row, something like that. You cannot just simply have to remove one row, remove one row. Like the wherever, for example. All steps I want to display. First, on bringing the pretense down, I can remove this value and I can add the next one. And then I will assign it. These are just two. Normally we have one row up, one row down. The options are not there, but you can remove it and you can configure. We need to do the adjustments in this column only. We don't have any other sequence. No. only in the columns. The print bracelet option, if you have, we can explore each and every column. But that's tomorrow. Again, I'll pick up this topic and give overview. And also we'll talk about this reversal ad hoc on demand. Those also will cover. First, let's cover what are the pending topics and then wherever I stuck. For example, the waste to document, and I'll take in separate sessions. Mr. Spinnington. Now, if you are good, then shall we hold on to tomorrow? Yes. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel.